Hey guys, welcome back. Today I want to show you a really neat project that I've been working on for the last couple days, making sausage. Every year there's the local state fair, and there's a group called the 4-H that holds an auction for all the animals that the kids raise and bring for judging. And then they auction the animals off, and the money goes to, their college funds or getting another animal to raise. These animals are fantastic. They're hand-raised, about as organic gets. They get hugs. They're treated as not just some random number in a feedlot, but an actual animal that somebody cares about. And these kids are learning how to care for animals while taking care of these. So this process, you got to be very careful with the temperature of the meat. If the temperature of the meat gets too high, the fat can actually break from the emulsion, and you can get this gritty, kind of nasty texture. Also, everything I'm doing, you can actually do yourself. One, if you have a grinder, or what you can do is go to the store, get a pork butt, ask them to grind it for you using a fine plate. So get fine ground pork butt. I'm going to show you I'm going to show you all the steps of the process, but you don't have to follow each and every one of them to make some great sausage. I'm also going to give you access to a calculator I made in Excel. I'll probably put it into Google Sheets. That will let you basically say, I want to make 4 kilos of sausage. It's going to tell you how much of what ingredient you need to put in. So let me know if you have any questions. Throw them down in the comments below, but let's get on this. So this is the ham I'm going to be using. 2 of them, both green hams. And these are from actually 2 different animals. This one was from about a 230 pound hog, and this one was from closer to 250 pound. What I look for when I buy ham is a couple things. So I buy these animals live. When you're looking at the animal, you want to make sure it looks like it has a nice, tight, strong set of muscles, especially on the hind, which are these hams. This has got a great covering of fat on it, and what I'm just going to do is I'm going to take the bones out, open it up, slice up everything so that it'll fit in my grinder, and then go from there. The boning knife here is the tool for this particular job. Basically use the front part of this knife, and that's going to let you just glide it along the bone. Now as you're working, you're going to find a ball joint. And this ball joint is what you need to find in order to get this bone located and removed. Don't be afraid to use a cut-proof glove when doing this. This is not the easiest thing if you've never done it before. With a knife like this, a mistake can be interesting. But right there is a ligament. You cut that, now this whole thing is free. And you got your ice bone out. And I try to run this knife right along that bone. Try to get it. You want to get as much meat off of it as you can. There we go. Working with this stuff is super slippery, so take your time, don't be in a rush. Alright, so I wanted to do a quick explanation of the parts of my grinder here, at least the important parts. Here we have the grinder itself. Inside it, you have the auger, and then this is where you're going to feed all the meat. It's going to go through, grind through there. This is a cutting blade that goes against one of the dies. Grinders aren't known for being the quietest of machines. I'm going to start grinding it, and then we're just going to go ahead and jump to making some sausage. I want to run you through one quick thing, really important. The difference between pink salt and pink salt. Himalayan pink salt and pink salt, curing. So, very similar. If you don't know what you're looking for, you might mistake them for the same thing. This is culinary salt, large grind. There's some just irregularities in color. This right here, it's very consistent size, very consistent color, and this is what has the 6.25% sodium nitrite. Do not mistake the two. And what pink salt is some salt, a little bit of food coloring to stain it pink, and 6.25% sodium nitrite. And what that does is that fixes the color of the meat, so when you bite into a sausage and it has that beautiful pink color and not a kind of grayish weird color, that's because they're using nitrites. Everything that we have here, the meat's currently in the freezer. All this is going to get ground up, mixed into the cold meat. Try to keep it all as cold as possible. First off, it's all going to go into the blender. So I have here, this is our pink salt. Next, we have achiote powder, oregano here in the bottom, and then granulated garlic. Kosher salt. A bunch of chili peppers. Okay, so this is a chipotle. This is guajillo. If you can't find guajillo, you can use chile New Mexico or chile California. And then one other. Chile ancho. Got our liquid in here. This is a mix of apple cider vinegar and pork stock that I had made. The pork stock itself are these jello looking cubes right here. When you make a good pork stock, there's enough gelatin in it to gel up really well. And so that's what we have. And then in here we have cumin, bay leaves, additional achiote, some clove, and I'm going to grind this all up into a powder here in the spice mill, and then it's going to go in here and we're going to blend it up. Alright, so I went ahead and I blended everything up, threw it in the freezer to chill it down. Now that it's out, I'm just giving it a quick spin. The only thing I have to do left is throw our spices back in there, mix them together real quick, and we are good to get this into our meat. Using the paddle attachment in my stand mixer, I'm going to have to mix the sausage to create what's called the bind. And that's where the sausage, all the meat, and the herbs and spices and everything are beaten together until all the proteins in the meat bind together really well, and it creates that texture that we know of from good sausage. Alright, let's take a look at this meat. There we have a nice homogeneous mixture. Looks like everything's been mixed in really well. I'm going to cook a little bit of this up and see how it tastes. And if we're good to go, I'm going to do the rest of the meat. Our sausage. The chorizo has been ground, mixed, and I've let it sit overnight so that way it just had a better temperature for this stuff. And this right here, this big old monster, is my sausage stuffer. This thing, you load this press pushes it down and runs it out through here. And I think capacity on this is probably about 5-10 pounds. So I use natural casings. For these kinds of sausage, we are all used to using pig intestine, so hog casings, and those can be found, at a butcher shop. I got mine at the local Safeway. Now when you get hog casings, they come to you a couple different ways. The ones that I have today are, they're salted. So with the salted ones, what you have to do is soak them. So now this process is pretty straightforward. I'm going to compress everything until I start getting a little bit of meat coming out here at the end. Is to pull just enough of the skin that I can tie it. And then you just pull that casing tight again. This is a hard crank to turn. And just from time to time as you're going through it, you're going to see little air bubbles open. And a quick little prick. You're good to go. We're at the end of it here. We have our extra sausage in the back. So what I like to do, take probably a couple inches, push them out, throw that back into the mix, tie this off. When I go and I buy chorizo, it's generally sold in these really long strands. So, you know, I'll just say, you know, I'd like 2 feet, and they cut you a 2 feet piece. Another thing you can do is take a look at the width of your hand, pinch, and rotate. That makes 1 link of sausage. Pinch. This time, you're going to rotate the opposite direction. Okay. Pinch. And rotate. Now you have links. You can let them dry overnight. I would do that in the fridge, unless you have a cold room in your house. The spreadsheet that I'm going to have available has my recipe for this chorizo, a Italian sausage, and a bratwurst. If you have any questions, just leave them in the comments below. Cheers.